It's not just about the bottom line for me. Coming out of corporate, that was one of my biggest things about being a leader, is that I wanted people to know that you can be in a space where leadership actually does care and cares for you beyond what you.
Welcome to Real Talk with Real Leaders, inspiration for radical freedom dreamers, a space where we uplift powerful voices, discover deep wisdom, and spark the courage needed to lead in today's sea of uncertainty. Together, we'll reimagine what's possible, one conversation at a time. I'm your host, Dr. Tracey Samone, Queen of Clarity and Care, and your go-to strategist, facilitator, and coach, helping social impact leaders and organizations get unstuck and get things done. Today, we have a fabulous leader lined up, but first, let's anchor down in the Anchor Way. The Anchor Way is a leadership framework designed to help leaders move forward with clarity, connection, cohesion, care, and courage, even in turbulent waters. Let's take a closer look. Think about leadership like a boat. To move through uncertain waters, it needs to be well-built, well-guided, and well-powered. Every boat is built from something. At the foundation of effective leadership are three essential materials. Clarity, a grounded understanding of where you're headed and why it matters. Connection, the ability to build trust, communicate honestly, and stay rooted in relationships. And cohesion, the alignment between your values, your vision, and your daily decisions. This is what effective leadership is built on. Without it, the structure is fragile, no matter how bold your vision or how skilled your team. Aboard every boat are essentials for the journey to help you set direction, carry the work, and guide your people. The first is the compass, your direction. It represents your vision, your priorities, and your sense of purpose. It helps you stay oriented even when conditions around you are shifting. Next is the cargo, the actual work you're responsible for carrying, the programs you run, the commitments you hold, the culture that you're shaping. These are the things you're building, protecting, or transforming through your leadership. Then there's the crew, the people you lead and journey with, your peers, your partners, your team. They depend on you for clarity, direction, and care. And you depend on them to carry the mission forward. Leadership means resourcing and aligning your crew so that you can move forward together. Below the surface, every organization is influenced by the current. These are the external forces like policy shifts, funding pressures, or community needs that shape your course whether you like it or not. You can't control the current, but you can learn how to navigate it. And what propels the boat forward are two internal forces: care and courage. Care is how you lead with humanity. Courage is how you make hard decisions with integrity. Both are necessary to move through resistance and build something real. Every interview in this series is grounded in one or more parts of the Anchor Way, because we believe leadership is not just about vision. It's about structure, systems, and soul. Welcome back, leaders. Today, I have a fabulous leader with me named Jordon. And Jordon and I had the pleasure of being together in she was a recipient of a fabulous award because she's a wonderful CEO. And I just happened to be lucky enough to facilitate the space once and got to meet her, and we just clicked. She's a beautiful human being doing beautiful work. And I'm so excited to have her here with us today so that she can share who she is and y'all can get all this juicy good wisdom coming off of her, because it's going to be good. So Jordon, I'm going to pass the mic to you and let you tell the people a little bit about who you are.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tracey Samone. I appreciate that. I am Jordon Lewis. I am the current CEO for L&J Empowerment, home of the Confess Project of America. We trained over 6,000 frontline workers that includes doulas, coaches, teachers, barbers, stylists, how to become mental health advocates. And I'm so excited to be with you today. I didn't ever see myself in this space, but I'm so grateful that I've gotten to experience being in this type of impactful leadership. I came from corporate America about 3 years ago and jumped in head first. My husband founded the organization, and it's been an amazing ride. So again, thank you so much for inviting me today.
I'm so excited to have you, Jordon. I think the first thing that sticks out for me you as a leader is that you don't run this whole organization by yourself. It's like a partnership between you and your husband. And so I think in order for that to take place, there has to be like cohesion at home and cohesion at work. So can you talk a little bit about how cohesion plays a role in your life and in your leadership?
For sure, for sure. So my husband has transitioned out of the organization, but in the when we first started, of course, he was leading and then brought me in. And so cohesion for us, like you said, it started at home. Most people say I could never work with my spouse, and I think to myself, well, if you couldn't work with your spouse, how is your household running? Because technically that's work. So we really had to learn boundaries was a big thing. But we our love for each other and our love for the work really propelled us forward. So understanding that number one, it wasn't about us; it was about those who we serve and those who we desired to impact. And then two, knowing that we both possess really invaluable skills that would help us move even further forward. So that's really how we came together as far as working together. But the cohesion portions, it got tough some days, right? So some days when he didn't put down the toilet seat, I was already mad. It could come into a team meeting, and those things we had to really check ourselves on, because home is one thing and work is another, but we bring that the bridge that we built between each other to both spaces. So learning how to do that in a way that fortifies what we're doing. But again, I think the cohesion of us being married made this a lot easier, actually.
I love that. I love that. So I know you lead a team too. And so it's one thing to be in rhythm and in step with a spouse at home or at work. What is it like for you to help keep that rhythm together for your team?
So with the current climate, both with philanthropy and with the government, it's been testy, right? It was all good back when COVID was going on and we had all of these different ways people were just sending money to say we believe in your work. Well, as this year's progressed, it's become more and more difficult with funding being declined, funding being reversed, and so helping them to see that we are all in this together, helping them know that the impact that they're making means something and is valuable. Also, letting them see that um, the challenges aren't just affecting them. Like, it's affecting me when I have to say, okay, guys, next month we're going to have to, scale back hours. Well, that means that I'm going to have to work even harder at home, because I do not expect for you to work for free.
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect for you to do anything just out of the kindness, because you also have bills to pay. And so helping them to see that it's really cyclical, like everybody, this is affecting us on so many different levels. But then also honoring the work that they've done, and honoring the way that they help me face the challenges, because it's not just me, pulling from everywhere. They send me text messages. I see you. Thank you so much for keeping this going. We can't wait to get back to work. And so thankfully things are turning around for us on that side. But just always keeping those lines of communication open so that they never felt like this was transactional, because it's way bigger than that.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like a lot of care between you and your team. And I hear like transparency, like being really honest, like giving them a look into like what it is like to be a CEO. Like every decision I make not only impacts you, it impacts the people we serve, it impacts me as well.
For sure. For sure.
So when things get a little off for the team, like now, like it is definitely a sea of uncertainty and
Mhm.
things are off and they're not flowing the way you want. What do you do? How do you course correct?
So I definitely lean into what have we done in the past that worked. I'm not a reinventor of the wheel, and I don't feel like everything has to be new and innovative every time. Sometimes it's getting on a call and saying, "Hey, let's have a we used to call them mixers, but let's just get together and vibe a little bit. We'll turn on some music on Zoom. If someone would like to have a libation or a drink or whatever that looks like, let's just sit and chit chat. Nothing about work. Let's just reconnect, because a lot of times it's the feeling of disconnection is what starts that discord amongst the group, right? If it's something that I know was interpersonal, my team knows I don't get into interpersonal stuff. We are grown and they have to figure that out. But if it is something like that, um, I may like send somebody something that will help them get through whatever that interpersonal issue was. If it's, them being concerned about how they're approaching different things, I may send them some type of book or something just to say, hey, I see that you've been struggling with this and I know that you want to get better. So here's my investment in that for you, because I want them to know that I'm invested in them being better people. You're not going to be here forever. This is not your period, right? But while you're here, I want you to feel completely supported. And so I think that's the other way that I help course correct, is making sure people feel supported and seen, which can is not always easy, and I don't always get it right. But in those moments, giving them the opportunity to be that, and then also giving them the opportunity to feel like it's you the problem. Like, you've been a little testy here, and so it's rubbing off on us. And so we're giving that same energy. And so, like you said, being open, being transparent, but also like letting them feel like I do honestly care. It's not just about the bottom line for me. Coming out of corporate, that was one of my biggest things about being a leader, is that I wanted people to know that you can be in a space where leadership actually does care, and cares for you beyond what you do for the organization or the company. Um, like I said, I honestly feel like when people feel like you care about them, when you show that you care about them, they will take care of you. And I've seen that time and time again be my saving grace. So,
Yeah, I love that strong thread of care. I also love that y'all get on and just vibe together and listen to music and relax. So let me see, if there was a song, a soundtrack that was running in your heart right now for where you are with your team and your work, what would that song be?
oh my goodness. Um, I hear the song and I don't want to call the wrong name, but I feel like it's Sade Rhythm of Love. Is that what it is?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. Because I feel like right now that's what we are literally, that's the fuel right now, is the love and the passion,
Mm,
and knowing that, again, this is bigger than us, and feeling like when we've done everything else, we got that. Like, if we don't have money, right? We have that drive and that desire to really see something come to fruition, um that that makes an impact beyond what we can see today. And so, that, or you know what, Tupac, Keep Your Head Up will probably be the other song, because at this point that's where I'm like, look, I see you, keep your head up.
mm, Do you feel like it sounds like not only do you see your team, but your team sees you?
Hmm.
And so what are some of the ways that they show you that they see you?
I get those text messages that say, hey girl, hey. And so I know what that means. Or you know I used to tell them all the time, I'm not the one, the two, or the three, but I am that girl. And they'll send me that. They be like, hey, that girl. And it's just those little reminders, that little things that I've said, or they've made an impression. And then they can also feel me, because I tell them all the time, I feel like I'm really intuitive. And you'll get to a point where when somebody comes up on your mind, or you see something that looks a little out of place, you may need to check in on that person. And so they've started to do that for me. And so that's one of those things that I feel like they do for me, that really keeps me going, because it's hard. It really is.
Mm,
Especially when you are an empath, especially when your desire is greater than your wallet some days, especially when you want to really help people, really help people, because that for me, that does start from within. We cannot help anybody else if we don't have the foundation of that within us. And so them, taking it upon themselves to check in or to do little things every now and then. I get a little package, a little I'm thinking about you. And so those things mean a lot.
Yeah, I'm hearing such a strong thread of like love in the work that you all do. If like, we coming up on October, we coming up on Halloween, like if cohesion was like a potion or a pot and you were throwing some ingredients into that pot
Mhm.
for other organizations to partake of, what would be those special ingredients that create that type of cohesion and flow and love that I'm hearing about you and your team?
I would definitely say empathy and understanding would probably be the butter and the flour. But from there, also using understanding that like gifts and talents all come in different ways and being okay with people using theirs. I think in order to really be cohesive, you have to allow people to show up in the way that they feel most
Hmm.
themselves, like how they show up as their best selves. And that may not always look like what we think of as straight laced and when we put on our blazers and comb our hair and really get in there. I had one staff member, she talks about a lot that I allow her to express herself in the way that she can without having to be politically correct. And I say, well, if I had to force you to be politically correct, how would you? She's like, I wouldn't say anything. And so allowing people to show up how they need to, and then also having a knowing boundary setting, but also being flexible
Hmm.
at the same time. So I would definitely say empathy, understanding, allowing people to show up how they see themselves or how they show up best. And then whatever that last thing was I just said, child.
Boundary setting
Boundary setting, but being
and
flexible. Yeah,
flexibility. Yes,
being
yes.
flexible.
Yes, I love that. I love that energy. It's the both and like you
Yeah,
guarantee like the ocean can't come up past the shoreline,
right,
but it can flow beautifully within the space that it has been given,
right,
which is a lot
right,
of room for it to show up
right.
just like it is.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It comes up past that shoreline and we in danger,
We
bro.
got a, we got a problem. We got a problem. But when we're not flexible, when we don't, allow people, that's when we cause those problems. People turn into a whole different beast. Like when people are like, I don't even know who this person is anymore. You created them when you forced them outside of their comfort zone into a space. So they feel like now I have to um take up space in space I'm not even comfortable in. And
Hmm.
so it looks and it may look good, but it's not authentic. And so it's not being received. People can't appreciate it. So what good does it do us, right? It can cause a lot of destruction. When that ocean gets outside that shoreline, stuff is gonna go awry. And so understanding, like I said, that we can't we can guide people to help them see other sides of things and maybe see things better, but forcing them to take on agency that they're not comfortable with and forcing them into that. If you don't do it my way, you won't have a job or you won't be able to be here like that you're looking for destruction.
Hmm. Hmm. Let's switch gears just a little bit. If nothing was holding you back, what would your next chapter of leadership look and feel like? I know you have done a plethora of things, but what does the next look like for you?
So next for me is I'm actually doing it. So I'm transitioning out of the executive director role. The everyday, while it is fun, it is a blast. There are some things that we really need to execute on a higher level, and so I need someone else to handle the day to day. And so my next level really looks like me being able to execute those leadership things that we don't typically like to do, that meeting and greeting and networking. While that's great for some people, that is not my comfort zone. But in order for us to obtain to really work through our next iteration, it's necessary. And doing the day to day is not gonna it's gonna conflict a whole lot. Because my shift has to happen. So um if that could have happened 2 years ago, I feel like um I wouldn't have gotten to meet some amazing people. So I'm glad it worked out this way. But really shifting into that next opportunity to lift the organization from the aspect of guiding it into its next iteration. Right now, we still been um, we were trying to find our footing, and so with all the shifts in the world, it kind of forced the changes that we knew had to come. So being able to do that, but if nothing else was holding me back, I would say I would do our work everywhere that somebody wanted it. No holds barred, no cost implications, just being able to go out here and share the information, gain additional ambassadors and community guardians. That's probably where I find my greatest joy is doing the trainings and really seeing people get it.
Mm-hmm.
So if nothing else was holding me back, I would train people every single day of the year.
Sounds like expansion and growth to me.
It is. And expensive rhymes with expensive. So I gotta go do this networking so we can get the coins in the door so that we can do that effectively.
Yeah, I have a friend. She's a chief external affairs officer, and she always says, "No money, no mission."
At all. And that's the hardest part about being in nonprofit work because people think that we shouldn't have money, but the work that we do is grandiose and we need a lot of money. People do not, when I look at our budget sometimes and people will say, oh, your programming, it gets the least amount of money. You paying a lot in salaries.
Gotta pay the
Like
people to do the
you got to
work.
pay people to do stuff, brain power, the groundwork. Like all of this is costing things, and the way that the world is going, it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes a lot to get this to really get this done. And the programming is not expensive because we've done it and we have tried and true, and we have measures that are effective, and so we know how to do that. We just got to buy the books and make sure somebody can get there and travel a little bit, but it's getting the people to make everything else work that costs a thing, the marketing, the HR, the this, the that, the accounting. So yeah, but if no holes are barred, I would definitely do that. And yeah. So if somebody watches this and they have, millions of dollars, we are open to receive.
Give my girl millions of dollars,
Thank
please.
you in
And
advance.
thank you.
Thank you in advance.
Well, and there's something to be said too. You talk about the cost of like HR and stuff. There's something to be said about being an organization that cares about mental health and mental wellness, and also taking care of the people that do the work in a way that honors their mental health and their mental wellness. And like you're not burning your people out, you're not exploiting them for labor, and that takes capital.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the other side of this is because we will be a walking contradiction if we did it any other way.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so important to us that when our staff show up, they show up as people who are mentally well. And if
Mm-hmm.
they're not in a mentally or emotionally well placed, they're able to say that and we can bring somebody else in. But again, that takes, a lot of work on the back end to make sure that that happens. But I think one thing we've done really well is we've always invested in our staff. And because that's always been really important to me, because I worked jobs where the expectations were high and the give back from the job was just a paycheck, and that
Mm-hmm.
never makes you feel good, and you start to decrease your output. And I was like, we can't afford that for the work that we do. We cannot afford decreased output, so we always have to, if we don't match, sometimes go above what they're putting in, so that they feel the need to say, you know what, these people really take care of me. Let me do what I said I was gonna do on their
Mm-hmm.
agreement, right?
Mm-hmm. So, last question.
Okay.
What do you want your leadership legacy to be? When it's all said and done, what would you like people to say about you?
I want to say that she changed the idea around Black women in leadership. I I faced some of the stereotypical Black women in leadership issues early in my career, and I always said that I never wanted to be like that. So while my leadership style is not a typical one, I call it leading with humanity. I understand that life is real and that things are going to happen and that people um, you know, traffic happens, my nanny or the daycare was closed or whatever, and understanding that these things happen and giving people grace where they need it, but also expecting excellence. And so I ride a really fine line on that. But I want people to say, like, she dispelled that myth. Like, she was really one of the best supervisors, leaders, managers, CEOs that I ever came into contact with, and that when I become a leader, I want to be like her.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Jordon, for your time and your wisdom. Thank you, leaders, for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Again, I'm Dr. Tracey Samone, Queen of Clarity and Care, your go-to strategist, facilitator, and coach, helping social impact leaders and organizations get unstuck so they can get things done and build a legacy that lasts. See you next time. Bye. Thank you for joining us for Real Talk with Real Leaders, Inspiration for Radical Freedom Dreamers. This space is here to remind you that your story, your vision, and your leadership are part of reimagining what's possible. If you're a leader ready to share your voice, scan the QR code on the screen to apply to be featured. Together, we're fueling radical freedom dreamers, leaders daring to chart new courses for our communities and our world. Until next time, keep anchoring, keep leading,